Yes, here we are. We're going to be doing some imagination exercises. If you're going to develop your right, your ability, and your desire for a sense of joy in being alive, for a sense of humor, a sense of lightheartedness, it takes some effort. It takes some work. You know, you get up in the morning and pain and misery and trauma and suffering, they're just waiting for you right by the bed going, "Good morning, Bubba, how you doing?" But if you want to develop a sense of joy in being alive, you have to make an effort to develop those skills that will allow you to remain flexible in the face of difficulty, trauma, and pain. Not to avoid the problem, but to cope more effectively with it. And that's what this tape is all about. These are guided imagination exercises. Now, for those of you who grew up in the 60s and are a little doubtful about things like meditation and guided visualization and that sort of thing because, you know, perhaps somebody beat you with puka beads once or tried to drown you in patchouli oil, or maybe you were bitten by a wild hippie. I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason, you may have an aversion to things like taking a few minutes a day to sit down and be calm and be quiet and quote-unquote meditate. Well, these aren't so much meditations as they are imagination exercises. Now, I want to warn you right from the beginning, do not attempt to do these while driving in a vehicle or operating heavy equipment. I want you to find a nice, quiet, calm place where you can sit down, be alone, be pretty sure of being uninterrupted. Maybe take the phone off the hook. Take the goat outside, for heaven's sakes, okay, so you won't be bothered. And find a nice, comfortable place to sit, okay? Let's start with that. Yes, just stretch a little bit. Maybe a yawn help. Okay. Roll your shoulders. That's it. Maybe shake your hands a little. Wiggle around and get settled in. Because now we're going to exercise your imagination. It's a very powerful tool, your imagination. And for those of you that think you don't know how to meditate, let me remind you of something. Do you worry? Do you know how to worry? If you know how to worry, you know how to meditate. That's all worry is. Sort of a negative form of meditation, focusing on something until it happens and then saying, "I knew it was going to happen." So you already know how to do this. Don't worry about it. You comfortable? Okay. This first imagination exercise is called a conflict resolution. It's to be used when you're dealing with those people that you have some difficulty with. I'm sure there's one or two people you can think of that every time you get around them, you don't really hate them. You just wish they'd been born in Albania and stayed there. You know what I mean? Every time you have to deal with them, you get a little tension in your tummy, or your jaw starts to get tight, or you just think about running into them at work, perhaps, and you think, "Oh boy, I hope that doesn't happen." Well, that's what this next imagination exercise is for, to help you cope more effectively with those people, to help you communicate better with them, and to help you so you don't have to go around all day with that little hot coal in your tummy burning a hole in there, or that little tight edge in your jaw, or that crease in your eyes. Now, this exercise is not to be used to supplement what's necessary when we're dealing with people. You don't want to use this instead of trying to resolve the difficulty, but as a sort of supplement. Okay, so are you ready? You have somebody in mind that you have that kind of difficulty with? Okay, set them aside. We'll get back to them in a moment. The first thing I want you to do is to one more time stretch, put your arms out, take a big breath in, yawn, and let yourself relax. That's it. Just sort of wiggle into place and allow yourself to relax. You never want to try to relax. That's impossible. You want to let yourself be comfortable. Now I'd like you to take a long, deep breath in through the nose and let it out through your mouth. That's it. And as you let the breath out, let go of the tension in your body. One more breath in through the nose. And let out the breath. Let out the tension. There. If your eyes haven't already closed, allow them to do so. Because now you're going to exercise your imagination. In your mind's eye, I want you to create a safe place. A place where nothing bad can happen, And no one can come in unless you invite them in. A place that's always warm and comfortable, where you can never suffer any pain or injury or danger. A place from which you can return by simply opening your eyes. It might be a place like mine is, from some childhood memory. I had a spot in the garage, behind some old wood and cardboard boxes, and a big leather chair, and there was a window and a shaft of sunlight that would come in some days. And I felt when I was in that corner, that was my corner of the world. Nobody could bother me, nobody knew I was there, and nothing bad could happen. I was so contented in that spot in the garage. Maybe you have one of those from childhood, or perhaps it's a poster, a picture of a place you've never even been to, but in your mind's eye you know it would be so beautiful and safe there. I want you to imagine that place right now. Where is it for you? Your safe place. Breathing comfortably. Perhaps you can remember the odors of that place or imagine them, what it smells like there. Perhaps you can reach out and touch something there. You can feel that place, see that place, remember the odor of that place. And you feel comfortable and safe and very alive in that place. There. And now you're going to invite in to that safe place someone you have conflict with, someone you have a little difficulty communicating with. There they come. It's okay, you're inviting them in. They seem a little peeved, don't they? They were busy after all, and what are they doing here? You see them looking at you? Why, you can almost feel that tension just imagining that person. But it's your imagination and your safe place, so nothing bad can happen here. I want you to walk over toward that person now, that person you have conflict with, and begin to walk around them. There you go. Look at them. And they're looking at you, trying to imagine what in the world silly thing you're doing now. And then as you come back around in front of them, I want you to look real closely. Take a few steps back, because in your imagination, something quite remarkable is going to happen to that person. Suddenly, that person you have conflict with appears in front of you dressed in nothing but a giant plastic disposable diaper. There they are, and they don't even seem to be aware of it. No, they're dressed in a giant disposable plastic diaper. I mean, maybe for the sake of modesty, they have some sort of top on. Perhaps a hat, maybe a pair of socks. But they're dressed in nothing but a giant disposable diaper. It sort of changes how you feel about them, doesn't it? And they don't even seem to be aware of it. Although now, right now, you and they become aware of something together. You both look up, and suspended above that person's head, that person you have conflict with, is the largest banana cream pie you've ever seen, floating as if by magic right above their head about 6 feet. And as they look, it begins to tip. Oh no, And there they are, dressed in a giant disposable diaper, covered in banana cream. You can let them go now. There they go. Bye-bye. See you later. Well, that didn't really hurt anybody, did it? But it allowed you to let go of some of the tension and anger and upset you feel with that person. Maybe the next time you see them in the hall or at home or wherever you run into them, you'll notice little drying flecks of banana cream still clinging to the hair behind their ears. And the next time you have to deal with that person, take just a moment to consider what they'd look like if they were dressed in nothing but a giant plastic disposable diaper and were covered in banana cream. Or if it makes you upset to see them like that, imagine what the two of you would look like, confronting one another dressed in nothing but giant plastic disposable diapers. And anytime you need to let go of some of the tension and upset and anger that you feel with people, sometimes just seeing them in a slightly ridiculous situation can help let go of enough of the anger and tension to allow you to then deal with the person and not with the anger or the resentment. Now, I'd like you to just take one long deep breath through your nose and prepare to come back to the present. Breathe in. Big deep breath. That's it, a little yawn, stretch. And as you let it out, open your eyes and welcome back to the present. I want you to think about two people who are going to be included in this next imagination exercise, which is called your humor allies. The two people should be from your past or present. Hard to have people from your future, but if you have that capacity, I'm not going to argue with it. I want you to have one person who in your past or present life has always supported and nourished and maintained your right to feel good, your sense of joy in being alive. Someone who, every time you see them, brings a smile to your face. You know, I have someone like that I use in this exercise, and it's my grandmother. My grandmother's been dead for 30 years, but all I have to do is think about her, and she's with me again. She's always the woman who on Saturdays when I came back from fishing had some special surprise for me, but she would never give it to me until I gave her the biggest, silliest grin I could make. And just making that grin would make her laugh. And I remember her and that round face and those green blue eyes laughing. And then she'd pull out some special little thing that she'd made for me, a cookie or I remember one of the things she used to think was a great treat was a leaf of lettuce wrapped around a little brown sugar. She had a strange sense of humor and some strange tastes, but she always brought to me a sense of my right to feel good, of the joy and the wonder of being alive. There's someone in your life like that. Someone who nourishes and supports and sustains your sense of joy in being alive. Who are they? Can you think of them? Because you're going to invite them into this next imagination exercise. And along with that person, I want you to think about someone who's quite the opposite. One of those people who always brought an edge of bitterness and uneasiness to you, who maybe even indicated to you that laughing and having a good time was a sign of a lack of intelligence, for heaven's sakes. They probably thought they were trying to do something good for you. But in truth, thinking about them makes you feel a little uncomfortable, because they were the kind of person who didn't nourish and support your sense of joy in being alive. Quite the opposite. They sometimes made you feel as if you didn't have a right to it. Can you think of that person? Now what I want you to do is set those two people aside and prepare for this next imagination exercise, your humor allies. We're going to start again by just getting physically comfortable. I want you to take a long, deep breath in through the nose. Breathe in and let it out through your mouth. Maybe you want to stretch and yawn. Just stretch your arms and wiggle around a little bit and get comfortable. There we go. Take another nice long deep breath in and let it out. And as you let it out, let out the tension and allow yourself to relax. One more deep breath in. And as you let this breath out, allow your eyes to close and focus in your imagination on that safe place. That place that you can retreat to nothing bad can happen there. It's always safe and comfortable and warm in your safe place. There in your imagination. It's always available to you, just as it is now. Sense that place, the sight, the smell, the sound of it, the feel of it. And there you are in your safe place. And I want you to invite into that safe place the person you were thinking about earlier who always brings a smile to your face. There they are, they're over there. Come on, come over here. And just seeing them come toward you warms your heart and brings a smile. And maybe you're not the kind of person who outside of your imagination hugs very much or very often, but here it's perfectly natural. And you're going to embrace that person and they're going to embrace you and you're going to laugh and smile. It's so good to see them. Maybe you have something you'd like to share with that person. Maybe they have something they need to tell you. What is that? And now, you have met one of your humor allies. The person who was always there to help you remember you had the right, the ability, and the desire to feel good. And there they are with you in your safe place, the spirit of that person. And the spirit of that person will always be in this place, waiting for you to come, waiting to support and nourish your sense of joy in being alive. And now the two of you are going to turn, and not too far away you're going to see that person who didn't nourish and sustain your sense of joy in being alive, that person who perhaps brought a sense of sadness or bitterness into your life, who maybe made you feel that feeling good wasn't intelligent or adult or professional. But this is your imagination, and nothing bad can happen here. So the two of you are going to invite them over. And that person seems a little uncomfortable. They're not sure if they should be here. But you wanted them to know it is okay. And they come forward. And as you and your friend walk to them, you are surprised to hear in your imagination what that person has to say to you. Because they're going to look at you and say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I know that I didn't do much to help you feel good, but I was so full of my own pain and my own fear and my own anger that I'm afraid that's all I shared with you most of the time. And I hope you'll forgive me, because I do think you have a right to feel good. I do think you have the right to laugh, to enjoy yourself, to experience joy. And I want you to reach out and touch that person and say, it's all right. I forgive you. And I want you to be one of my humor allies. And they're so surprised and so pleased. A smile comes to their face and to yours. And you're going to say to them, welcome. And now I want you to introduce the two of them. Go ahead. Yes. And the three of you are going to reach out and lay hands on one another's shoulders in a little circle. And you're going to say to them, I need you here. I know there will be times when the challenges and the pains and the difficulties I face seem like they might be too much. And I'm going to need to come here to my safe place and know that you, my humor allies, will be here waiting for me to support and nourish and strengthen my sense of joy in being alive, to remind me of the good, and help me remain flexible enough to get through the difficulties without becoming bitter and broken by them. Will you do that? And they smile and they nod, because that is now their purpose here. And you now have your humor allies. They're going to be waiting for you in that safe place. And whenever you need them, and their support, and their encouragement, all you have to do is find a comfortable place to sit down and come to this place, and they'll be waiting for you. Perhaps during the day when things get difficult, all you'll need to do is remember this place and these two people waiting to encourage and support your sense of joy in being alive. One last smile among the three of you, and you say to them, thank you. And now it's time for you to come back to the present. But remember, anytime you need that support for the right, the ability, and the desire to stay in touch with a sense of humor and a sense of joy, it's here in your safe place with your humor allies. Take one nice long deep breath in through your nose. Let it out. And as that scene begins to fade in your imagination, come back to the present with one more long deep breath. Stretch. Open your eyes. And you're back. Remember, those people are always there when you need them. Your humor allies to support and nourish your sense of joy. Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm on this side of the tape, too. In fact, it's a remarkable thing to me, but on this tape, I'm in 4 places at once. It's a very unsettling feeling, but I've gotten used to it over a period of time. On this side of the tape, we're going to be doing 2 imagination exercises. And I hope you've remembered that you shouldn't be listening to this tape while driving a car, operating heavy equipment, flying an airplane, doing a hang glider, or working out on a trampoline or a trapeze. You should always listen to these tapes in a comfortable, quiet atmosphere where you can be fairly sure of being uninterrupted. The first imagination exercise on this side of the tape is called Your Child, and I want to give you a small word of warning before we begin. In this exercise, we're going to ask you to invite into your safe place in your imagination, in your mind's eye, a very special person, the person you were between the ages of, say, 4 and 6 years old. I don't know about any of you who are listening to this tape, but I know something about me. Not much, but a little. And I know that the first time I tried to do this imagination exercise, it was very difficult for me. My childhood was not a bed of roses. My childhood is not a dream of pleasant memories, by and large. My childhood was very unsettled, and in some cases very violent and terrifying. What I was advised to do is what I'm going to advise you to do if you think that remembering yourself as a child will be painful or difficult. I began remembering myself as the child I wished I had been, as the child I would have liked to have been, and in that way was able to get a great deal out of this exercise. I invite you to do the same if you had the same difficulties as I did, and I think you'll find it very beneficial. If at any time during this imagination exercise you begin to get uncomfortable, all you have to do is take a deep breath, stretch, and open your eyes and come back. But most people experience it as a very positive and healing imagination exercise. So if you'll get comfortable and just stretch and yawn. Oh, here we are. Oh, yes, sir. Okay. Roll your shoulders a little bit. Maybe roll your head. Okay. Let yourself be comfortable. Take a long, deep breath in through your nose. In. And as you let it out, allow yourself to relax. One more deep breath in. And let yourself get comfortable. Allow the muscles in your body to soften. One more deep breath in. And as you let it out, if you haven't already allowed your eyes to close, just let your eyes close so that you can look in and experience your imagination. And in your imagination, I want you to create now that safe place that we talked about on the other side of the tape. That place where nothing bad can happen, that's always soft and warm and safe. And in that safe place, I want you to pay attention to the sights, the sounds, the smells, all of the senses of that place. And imagine yourself in it. And now, you're going to notice that there is a light beginning to envelop your safe place. A soft, golden light, something like the light that is reflected just before sunset, soft and warm and golden. And there in your safe place, in your mind's eye, you're going to notice a very special person. Over there, do you see them? It's a child. The child you were between the ages of 4 and 6. They haven't noticed you yet. They're investigating the place. And like so many children, that younger you is full of a vitality and an energy, running from place to place, suddenly stopping to look at something that, why, someone else might think it was just a piece of tinfoil. And to that child, it's a mystery, a treasure. Look at that child who was you, or who is the child you wish you had been, full of vitality, full of curiosity, their face expressing one moment wonder, and the next moment a sort of pleasant confusion, trying to figure out all of the mysteries of this world they are in. And now I want you to call to them. And they see you. And they know who you are. And the child smiles. And you smile at them. And the child begins very tentatively at first to walk toward you, their adult self. And then you open your arms and motion to them, and they run over to you, and you reach down and pick them up and set them in your lap and look at one another, amazed. Because that child senses in you a totally unconditional love, a complete acceptance of the child. And they're going to rest their head on your chest right now. And maybe you'll put one hand up and stroke their hair. And the child can hear your heart beating, their heart beating. And I want you to say to that child, little one, as you're growing up, things may at times be very difficult for you, but I want you to know something. I want to tell you that you have the right to feel good. You have the right to play and to laugh and to feel good. And as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, You have the right to laughter and joy and fun, and you have the right to share that with other people. Because as you're growing up, you may encounter some real pain, some real difficulty, some very real troubles. But if you're going to solve those problems, you always have to keep alive that place at the center of you that is flexible and loose and amazed. That place that is full of fun and joy and laughter. I don't want you to ever forget that. That I give you the right to feel good, to have fun. It's okay. Just so long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, it's perfectly okay. I want you to hold on to that sense of wonder and joy. Because when the tears come, and when the pain passes by, if you're going to come out on the other side having learned something and having grown inside as well as outside, you have to stay loose. Child, you have to stay flexible and loose. And that's what laughter and play are all about. I want you to know that I love you. No conditions, no strings. You're just fine the way you are. And I want you to hold on to your ability to play and have fun and be amazed and laugh. Because sometimes I'm going to come back to this place and I'm going to need you to help me remember those things. And now the child is going to sit up and look at you and reach a hand up and touch your face and say, I love you. And then as they lean back against your chest, I want you to put your arms around them and hold on to them. And here in your imagination, a miraculous thing is going to happen. That child is going to meld and become part of you, move inside of you, disappear into you, and become your heartbeat. The memory of wonder and laughter and play and joy and amazement at the world is inside of you, in that child. Because in truth, that child has always been with you and is with you now and always will be with you, so long as you give them permission, when it's right, to play, to laugh, to discover and to wonder. Breathe in deep through your nose, and as you let it out, remember that sense of acceptance. Unconditional love for that child. And whenever you need to remember how to play, how to laugh, how to find amazement in the simplest things, you can come back here to your safe place, and that child will be waiting for you. The child you were, or perhaps wish you had been, when you were between 4 and 6 years old, and the world was an amazement. It's always here, and that child is always waiting, here in your safe place, in your imagination. One more long, deep breath in. And as you let it out, I want you to come back to the present. Stretch and yawn, breathe in. Let it out, let your eyes open. And take that child with you, wherever you go. This next imagination exercise is called your elder self. All you need to do, as with the previous imagination exercises, is find a comfortable place where you can be pretty sure you won't be interrupted. Make yourself physically comfortable. Stretch. I always like to do that. Stretch and yawn. Oh, okay. Maybe shake your legs out a little and your arms and roll your shoulders. Roll your head around a little bit. And prepare yourself to go to that safe place where nothing bad can happen, and where, if you need to return, you can, by simply breathing in and opening your eyes, come back to the present. Now, take one long, deep breath in through your nose. And as you let it out, allow yourself to become soft and relaxed. Allow the tension to drain out of your body. One more long, deep breath in. And let it out. Allow the tension to leave. Allow your muscles to become soft and relaxed. Allow yourself to be comfortable. One more breath in through the nose. And as you let the breath out, allow your eyes to close. And in your imagination, see that safe place. That place you can retreat to whenever you need a few moments to remind yourself that you have a sense of joy in being alive, and you want to exercise your right to feel good, and exercise your ability and your desire to experience joy in being alive. Breathing now, in through the nose, and out. Allow your breathing to become comfortable. Allow yourself to become physically relaxed. And see that place that is your safe place in your imagination. And see yourself there, comfortable, relaxed, and at peace. I want you to pay attention for just a few seconds to the sounds of that place. Perhaps reach out and touch some of the things around you. And in your breathing, allow the odors of that place to come to you. Sense that place, your safe place. And now I want you to notice another very special person entering in to that place in your imagination. Not too far away, you're going to see something quite remarkable. You're going to see your elder self, the you will become as you become older. And the remarkable thing about that person that you first notice is their face. Yes, there are some of the lines that are worn there by the years, but the most dominant feature of that face are the laugh lines around the eyes and the mouth, as though that person spent more time in the course of their life looking for and exercising their sense of joy. That's a face with eyes that are alive, your eyes, your face, as you will be when you become physically older. The body is still strong, although slight. And that person, that elder self that is you, moves with a sense that reflects the child who was you. There is still in that movement the sense of wonder, the sense of excitement about being alive. And those eyes, those remarkable eyes that are yours as an elder, bright, full of life and light. And now I want you to notice one another. And what a smile spreads across that elder self's face, recognizing you, knowing that you are the person they have been. And you're going to move toward one another. And very cautiously as you approach, I want you to reach out and take that person's hand. What a remarkable feeling. The delicacy and the strength of that hand. And looking into one another's eyes, you're going to smile with recognition. Because this is the person you can become if you choose to exercise your sense of joy in being alive, if you make the effort to look for and experience those things that nourish and sustain your sense of humor, your sense of joy, your sense of laughter and lightheartedness. It's all reflected in that face, in those eyes. And I want you to very carefully now and very gently put your arms around that person and hug them. And they're going to hug you. And I want you to feel a heartbeat. It's yours. It's theirs. It belongs to both of you. It is the heartbeat that the child you were remembers. And then as you release and look back at one another, you're going to smile again. And with a sense of wonder and joy, you are going to begin to laugh together. It's just going to come. The sense of amazement, the miracle of a life lived through difficulty, not in it, through pain, not of it, through the challenges, the laughter and the understanding of a life lived with joy at its center. Laughter from you, from your elder self, laughter. And as the laughter begins to die down, you and your elder self are going to sit down together, and they are going to begin to tell you how grateful they are that you did not allow the pain and the difficulty, the trauma and the challenges to become who you were, but through them all, how you fought to exercise your perspective, your capacity to take yourself lightly and your problems seriously and never to become your problems. They're so grateful to you for that. And most especially, your elder self is grateful to you for your having exercised your sense of joy in being alive, having made the effort to find and develop and cultivate and nourish those things that allowed them to age without becoming ancient, brittle, bitter, and alone. Your elder self takes your hand and thanks you for having loved the child that you were, for having accepted the child that you were, the adult that you became and the elder person that you will become. Look again at those eyes, full of life and laughter and love, and those lines of laughter and smiling around the eyes and around the mouth. This is the you that you can become, strong and full of a sense of joy and amazement at the life you lead. And as your elder self stands to leave, realize that if you need to see them, if you need that affirmation from them, that you have the right to feel good and to pursue that sense of joy in being alive, that you can come back here to this safe place and meet with them and see again the results of your effort. They're going to leave you there now for just a while. And as they turn and look back over their shoulder at you, that grin. Life's too mysterious. Don't take it so serious. And you wave goodbye as they move off. But wait a moment. They're not leaving. They're turning around. Your elder self is coming back to you. You stand up, they smile, they open their arms, and as you hold them again, feeling the delicacy and the strength of that body, in your imagination, that person is going to meld into you and become you. Because in you there is the child that you were and the elder self you may become. And now you are all of them. And all of them are filled with a sense of joy and wonder at the world they live in. Breathe in deeply through your nose. Let it out. And feel that right, the ability and the desire that you possess if you choose to exercise them, to experience wonder and joy. Be filled with that sense. Make yourself comfortable in that safe place and know that whenever you need the support of what you have been, what you may become, and what you are, that you can return here for the nourishment and the strength that you need. Breathe in again deeply. And as you let it out, stretch and prepare to return to the present. And let your eyes open. There. Now it might feel good to sort of stand up, stretch a little more. And I want you to remember one thing. You always have the freedom and the right to come back to this safe place, to work on the conflict resolution, or to meet with your humor allies, or to come back and see that child and remember how to play, or to come here and meet with your elder self and see the you can become if you practice and exercise your right to a sense of joy in being alive.